your take on the last few years being a jazz guitarist. Have you noticed any trends, any more gigs, less gigs, better players, more responsive audiences, less response? I mean, what has been your take on the guitar and jazz guitar as you know it over the last, let's say, 3, 4, or 5 years, or 2 to 5
Well,
years?
I can only speak for myself,
Of course, that's all I'm
with any
asking.
kind of authority. That for me, it seems like there's been more gig in New York, and since I live in New York, there seems to have be more gigs happening post pandemic, um, and the money's gotten slightly better for those gigs. More people coming out, they're listening, most of them, and yeah, so there's more opportunities to play since the
Well, let's say,
since the
all right,
pandemic ended.
pre-pandemic, like the year before the pandemic, what are
Yeah,
we above that level, about where that level was, or
it seems to me like we're above that level.
yeah, that's what I'm
You
saying.
know,
It's
yeah,
rising.
it seems to me that we're above pre-pandemic level
Yeah,
in terms of gigs and money. You know,
gotta love
and
that.
the and the the places that are paying the same, they need to up their game,
Mhm.
with the pay scale. There's a lot of places are paying more now, and those guys that are paying the same that they were pre-pandemic, you gotta up their game, or you're gonna lose some of these musicians.
Well, I think
You know,
the question I have is, are they charging more for the tickets than they were, but paying the same? Be-
yeah. Well, I'm speaking. Yeah. Well, if tickets are involved, I think maybe they're charging more. I'm not sure,
yeah,
but a lot of places don't charge. You're talking about restaurants and things like
right,
that. Where people just come in, sit down, and
right,
order a drink and have an hors d'oeuvre and listen to the music. And there's no
right.
cover charge. So those are the places I'm talking about.
Yeah, all right.
Now, the places with the door charges, I don't, you know, I don't really ask,
Yeah, right.
what the door charge is, you know.
But
Um,
the bottom line is that even that the jazz guitar seems to be on an upswing.
yeah,
Even yeah, and that's
yeah,
the main thing.
jazz guitar is on an upswing. It's like
Love that.
it's not quite like it was back in the late '60s and early '70s, but it's pretty popular again. You know,
I think it's on its way there.
yeah,
I do. I believe it's on its way there, and it's going to take a little time, but I think it's on its way there, and that's the good news. And having
yeah.
guys like you around to um, basically lead the way, show people what's up, and you
Yeah,
know,
well,
yeah,
I do what I do and
well, I
hope people
understand.
enjoy it.
I'm not laying that on you, but what I'm saying is, but people observe what you're doing, and they
Yeah.
observe how you go about your business and how you perform, how you
Hmm.
respond with the instrument, how you deal with
Hmm.
the audience and all that. I mean,
Hmm.
you're if they're learning through observation, and you're just
Right,
being you. You're not saying
right,
anything. You're just being you, and they're
right,
observing how guys became charismatic players,
right,
and you're one of them for
right.
sure. I mean, you're very
Yeah,
charismatic.
it's funny. I was just telling a student of mine the other day that part of being a good performer is like having a rapport with the audience. Try to bring them in. You
Got to
know,
do it.
with conversation. Not too much. You don't have to
Yeah.
tell long drawn out stories, and you don't have to be a jokester. Like Dizzy. Had great conversation, rapport with the audience.
Right.
He was very outgoing like that. So some of that I picked up from him. You
Yeah.
know, just watching him every night, talking to the audience, telling them about certain tunes, who wrote them,
Right.
maybe why, you know, and yeah, you know, it's all part of the thing. It's show business, you know.
Well, listen, I really appreciate you musically and as a human being, the little bit we've gotten to know each other, and I think what you do is tremendous, and I just really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
thank you.
So Bob Bakert for Jazz Guitar today. We want to thank Ed Cherry for being our special guest. If you want to hear some really, really cool blues, go back and listen to him with Dizzy Gillespie, probably back in I don't know. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
1910, 1912.
1910. Okay.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody.